Hey everyone, welcome to Krishna Fest. I am Karsh. I am a content curator and producer, and today I have got a very special workshop for you, and it is about building a business. And building a business is not something that you can come up with. It takes a lot, right? It is not something that you get an idea and you start with it. It's more than that. And today I have a very right person for that. This workshop is about the journey from idea to impact. And for this, I have Avelo Roy here as your mentor and tutor for this subject. Avelo is a thought leader, investor with humongous portfolio of 400 plus startups. He is currently the MD of renowned investment house Kolkata Ventures and has been an entrepreneur himself from a sheer age of 90. So welcome Avelo for this workshop, and I'll be looking up to you in guiding me through this workshop. Welcome.
Hi Utkarsh, nice to meet you. It's wonderful to be here, and happy Janmashtami to everyone for Krishna Fest. So I've been asked to speak about how to use Gita principles in entrepreneurship, and my first section I'll talk about is how to choose what kind of business to start. So a lot of times, especially today with pandemic, everybody is stuck at home and you have access to the internet and laptop and your phone, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to make money sitting at home, using the most powerful tool that you could probably have. And to be honest, many our Kolkata Ventures has grown almost 400% in the last 1 year because so many people are quitting their jobs and wanting to start startups, be free, be independent, work from home, or work from Goa, or work from the beach, wherever you want. And that opportunity has opened up to us. And this has they have been pushed from the government, they have been pushed from society, and I think this 9 to 5 job thing is evolving into something that is more free. People want to be financially free. People want to be free with what time they work, how much time they spend on working, how much money they earn. They want to have control, and I think that's where we come in. So I wanted to kind of talk through some of these topics. A little bit about myself. I started at the age of 19 while studying at the Illinois Institute of Technology. I came up with the patent pending technology, commercialized that, made it into a multi-million-dollar company, raised venture capital in the middle of a recession back in 2009, was invited by President Obama to the White House panel for entrepreneurship education. So while I was building my startups, I got introduced to helping others also build their startup. And after 8 businesses, 3 exits, and coming to India back in 2016, I have been promoting entrepreneurship in India, guiding, funding, giving resources through Kolkata Ventures. And that has been very successful in creating 400 plus revenue generating startups, 4,500 new jobs, and we are in 5 countries now. So coming back to the topic, how do you choose what kind of business you want for yourself? And the first thing is you should look at yourself. Who are you? Right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually starts by telling Arjun, you're not this body, you're spirit soul. Know who you are. Kaunteya is reminding him, you're the son of Kunti. You're son of Pandu. You're from the great dynasty of the Kuru dynasty. So know who you are. Because Arjun was depressed, he was in dilemma, he didn't know what to do, and we go through life. We get confused. We don't know what to do. And that's where the Bhagavad Gita starts. And that's where I would like to also start by telling you, first do self-assessment, right? Write down your top 3 skills, whatever age group you fall under. But at this point of your life, what are 2 or 3 things that you do better than others? It doesn't have to be Steve Jobs level, but at least you're better than others, something you're gifted with. And 2 or 3 things that you're passionate about. Whether it's cars, sports, spirituality, cooking, music, whatever it might be. Here's what's happening. From the things you're passionate about, you would find out what your market you should go after, right? Who are the people who you relate with? When you relate with them, you can relate with their problems. Here is what's happening. Most people think startup business is about an idea. It's not about the idea, because the idea is yours. When you start with the problem is theirs, the market problem. An idea might work, might not work. But when there's a problem, a dire enough problem, people are willing to pay to solve it. When you have a dire enough problem people are willing to pay to solve, then you don't need a perfect solution. You need a solution that's 50%, 70% there. and people will still pay for it because it's better than what is out there, right? So for example, think about Uber, right? All of us in all countries have faced this problem of cab drivers not wanting to go to some place that we want to go. Uber came in, give you an app where you can bring a cab to your doorstep rather than you running after the cab, right? Even though it's a little bit more expensive, people go for it. And now I can use my Uber app in London and Singapore and wherever I want to be, and it's the same app. Globally, I can have my cab thing taken care of, transportation solved. So similarly, you need to look at market problems. What are some problems that people are willing to pay for? If you look at the pandemic, people are paying more for insurance now. Who didn't have insurance now are like scared. If I go to hospital, oh my god, huge bills, they're going for that. People are paying for astrology because they're scared, how's my life going to be, am I going to live too long, etc. People are paying for mental health because being at home, right? So there are problems thanks to the pandemic that people are much more focused on paying for, and you need to see what are some of those problems that you can also connect with and you're willing to solve. Now when you look at the passion part, you got the market, you got the problem. Now to solve the problem, you're creatively thinking, how do I solve it? There are certain skills you will have, maybe the tech skill, maybe marketing skill, maybe communication skill, and there are certain skills you don't have and you're wondering, how do I build this even though I don't know how to do it? That's where co-founders come in, right? So you know what skills you have, and there are certain skills you don't know. You start looking around, where can I find a co-founder with these skills? Unless you look, unless you ask, you don't get. Just like a date, right? I was just reading at Facebook, this lady was mentioning she was in Bumble looking for a date. She ended up hiring around 7 guys for her startup. So you never know where you would find them, but you have to look everywhere. Your college alumni group, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, if you're friends of friends, your whatever, whoever you can find. So this is not an easy process to find a co-founder, somebody who matches your chemistry, who sees the same vision that you do, and has the skills with which together you can build this company. And coming back to Uber's example, Travis, there's this famous tweet, you can Google it and find it, where he tweeted looking for, a marketing business development guy who together we can build a hyper-local app. And somebody responded to that tweet named Ryan, and Ryan and Travis together co-founded Uber. They didn't know each other, they met on Twitter, and together they built Uber, a multi-billion-dollar company. So the point is, use social media to your advantage and don't get used by it. But the point is, find somebody. Alone building something, there are solopreneurs, right? Sure, but it's always good to have somebody with you because it's difficult. Like Utkarsh rightly said, it is difficult to build a startup and misery likes company. When you're miserable together with a co-founder, it's much better than crying alone, with all the rejections you will get, with all the family not supporting you and the friends laughing at you and the investors shutting the door on your face, right? All of that, it takes perseverance to go through. So, that's what you need to understand. Yeah. That's where we are. Does that make sense, Utkarsh?
Yeah. So these are really wonderful insights, Avelo. And what I got it, we need to connect passion and profession, maybe, or passion with the problem, and then we have to look forward for complementary skills which can add up and in solving these problems, right, which are around us. And these people who have these complementary skills may be your friends or maybe friends of friends. We just have to start looking for them. So we have to be really passionate about not just about the idea and the problem and our skills. We have to be passionate about in connecting to the people. So I think that is a very important skill set of an entrepreneur or of a person who is solving a problem, that he need to be a community person. He need to connect to the people. So that is a wonderful insight. Moving ahead, what is the next step, Avelo?
So, well, once you figured out what problem you want to start, then how to start a startup, and that comes, from understanding again, how big do you want to be? Some people are okay with a okay lifestyle, like, okay, you know what, I make a couple of lakhs a month, that's enough for me, that allows me to have a car, a house, etc., etc. Whereas somebody might be like, I want millions, I want billions, I want tens of billions, right? If that's so, depending on the goal, you kind of figure out where you fall in. Now, let's talk about the first part, because I understand not everybody is super ambitious, and you don't have to be. It's about happiness. It's not about necessarily, trying to impress the world, especially from the Bhagavad Gita perspective. So, if you're thinking of something that just pays your bills and you live a affluent life, 2 lakhs a month, 3 lakhs a month, that kind of a thing. One of the first things I would suggest is cloud kitchen, because everybody has to eat, and especially us Hare Krishnas, we are known for our culinary skills. So especially when Krishna eats, when we have prasad, it tastes so much better than any food you've ever tasted. So and that is definitely a good choice, because it's easy to start. It will not cost you more than 30 to 50,000 rupees to start. You can start from your kitchen, right? Your home kitchen. In most states, the government allows you to get it FSSAI approved. Once you do that, then you can use Swiggy, Zomato as tools to get the distribution, and you can make your food, and they can distribute your food and do the marketing for you. You pay for ads and whatnot, right? That's one aspect. Another aspect of being a kind of small kind of business would be consulting. You might have worked for a couple of years or 10 years or whatever. You understand the problems and projects and the holes in the industry, and you can consult and make good money. And as long as you work, you make money. If you don't work, you don't make it. It's your freedom. The gig economy. I was recently talking to, not recently, it was a few months back actually, somebody who was delivering food. And I said, how much do you make? He said, sometimes I make 3,000 rupees a day. And that is like 90,000 rupees a month. Not every time, but sometimes he makes that high. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I either deliver food on Swiggy or drive Uber during the day, and at night I'm doing graphic design and content writing kind of work on Upwork and freelancing.com. And I charge $25 an hour, which is almost a little more than 1,000 rupees an hour, right? And he's able to do those kind of things and make 3,000 rupees a day. Now that's 90,000 rupees a month, and most engineers don't make that much money. And I was like, this is very interesting, and that is called the gig economy. And he was like, when I don't want to work, I don't work. I just sleep all day, watch Netflix, and that's okay. And that's our generation. It's evolving into that kind of a generation where people are, they work when they want, and they don't work when they don't work, and there's plenty of money available on demand. And that's one way of living. Now let's talk about the more ambitious folks, people who want to make a multi-million-dollar business. In that case, it has to be a tech-enabled, scalable business. Now, what does that mean? Basically, that means this. Let's talk about app or a website, right? You build one app, you build it once, but it can be downloaded by millions of people. And one change on the app and millions of people, their apps get changed. That means, versus if you build a phone, you have to, you cannot just change the components, because it's a real product. It's a physical product. Every time there's a change, there's an up cost and whatnot. But in a digital product, it's much, much easier. So tech-enabled, scalable business. Something that is scalability. Scalable means what? Your cost goes up as your customers grow, but cost goes linearly in proportion with the number of customers. But your value grows exponentially like this. Cost is going this, value is going this with the number of customers. Why? Because the customers are referring other customers. They're bringing in good work. You're doing good work. People are talking about you. So your cost of customer acquisition goes down. Initially, maybe it costs you 100 rupees to get a customer who pays 1,000 rupees. But when the customer brings another customer, it doesn't cost you anything. Literally zero. And somebody brought you another customer. So that grows, right? And when you have a digital, some way of having productizing it, whether you're teaching math and science, whether you're teaching music, whether you're solving people's mental issues, whether you're a doctor and you want to, give telemedication, whatever you want to do digitally, it allows for you exponential growth. As long as you productize it, put it into a website or an app, and then know the right ways to growth hack it. Today we don't have much time to talk about it. But the point is, if you want to have a multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar business, you need to have a tech-enabled, scalable business. Now, some of you might be thinking, what about traditional businesses? That's also possible. If you, let's say, think of a restaurant, right? You start a vegetarian restaurant like Govinda's, right? Now, what happens is initially you build the brand, you build the value proposition, what you're special for. Like Govinda's around the world is known for its vegetarian food. Some countries it's vegan also. Now, once you build the brand, then you can just franchise it out, where you're not having to pay for the cost of setting up the physical store, paying the employees, the taxes, and all of that. In fact, you charge people to take your brand, to take your blueprint, and make it a reality, right? So they pay you, and you take a piece of their revenue, 5%, 10%, whatever that might be. That's how Donald Trump does it, right? He doesn't build the Trump Towers. People build Trump Towers. They pay Donald Trump for his name, and they put the word Trump Tower on top. And people are like, oh, Trump Tower, that represents, high quality, that represents, show off, that represents whatever it represents. But Trump is getting paid for every time people say Trump Tower. So similarly, you can build a brand of traditional, whatever business you're in, whether it's restaurant, whether it's whatever it might be, but then eventually you can leverage it into creating franchisees, and that's also scalable, where you have hundreds of thousands of people, using your franchising and paying you, and you're making money from every dollar they make or every rupee they make, right? So these are two ways that you can start your business. Utkarsh,
Yeah.
does it make sense?
Yeah, completely. So, from like starting from identifying the problem and then thinking about solutions and then skilling up yourself or scaling up your business, right? And it is directly proportional to amount of risk you can take, the amount of capability you have, the amount of ambition you have in you. So, if you have high ambitions, you can scale your business up. If you are like, if you want to start, if you want to test it out, if you want to do a pilot, you can start with something as basic as Cloud Kitchen. So wonderful examples, Avelo. Moving ahead, what is the next step?
So, there's a saying that you can have the best idea and an average team, and you're bound to fail. And you can have an okay idea and a great team, and you're most likely to succeed. So I'll talk about teams now. So now that you've figured out who am I, what kind of business I should go into, so based on that, you need to choose your co-founder, the founding team, but also the executive team, people who are actually doing the grounds work, So there you need to understand, again, Bhagavad Gita very beautifully comes in here, because Bhagavad Gita does talk about the human nature, that's a psychophysical nature of people very much. So first of all, if you are starting a business, know that you're not Infosys, TCS, where they hire like lakhs of people and people are sitting there doing nothing, or having the honeymoon period of 6 months where they learn how to do things. You need people in your startup who come, who are skilled, and they're willing to start working from day one. And they should at least be able to earn you double their salary, right? These are people who are high skill, high will. That means they are motivated. They don't have to be told, step 1, do this, step 2, turn right, step 3. You don't need to micromanage them. These are self-managed, self-motivated people who are skilled, who have some years of experience, and who can take you to the point where you need to go. Now, understand this. There will be people who are very good at interviewing, right? When they get hired, then you see they were good at talking, but they cannot perform. Happens a lot, especially for you if you're doing it for the first time. You don't know. You're not an HR manager. You don't know. So you will make hiring mistakes. Hire slow, fire fast. Remember that. If you make a mistake in hiring, do not let the cancer spread. If they are low skill, low will, or low skill, high will, or whatever in those categories, point is they need to be high skill, high will. If they are bringing you problems, do not address. So always tell your people, bring me solutions, right? I have hired you for a reason. So these are people who should be able to do that. There's a problem, let me figure out how to make this no to a maybe to a yes, right? Rather than telling you, sir, aisa nahi hota hai. This doesn't work, or the government says this, or the rule says this, or the local this shop won't do that, etc., etc. Us entrepreneurs, we have a specific way of working. We take a no to a maybe to a yes. That doesn't mean we break rules, but it means we bend rules. One thing I have known coming from a political family is that there are always ways that people don't know about, right? There's one line you will always see that is there for the common people. There's a VIP line that nobody knows about, right? Whether it's a temple, whether it's a hospital, whether it's the airport, everywhere this VIP culture is prevalent. Not only India, but everywhere in the world, right? So you need to understand as an entrepreneur, there is always a way to make things work. And the people you hire should also be in that entrepreneurial mindset that somehow or other, I will make it happen. And you need to motivate them in the right way. Now, again, Bhagavad Gita comes in here. So I'm sure you know, according to Bhagavad Gita, Hindus generally around the world are hated for the caste system because it's misunderstood. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. It means these 4 Varna ashram system is created by Krishna based on guna and karma, quality and activity. So, for example, I'm born in a Brahmin family, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a Vaishya by trade because that's my psychophysical nature. In fact, my guru told me I'm a Vaishya Kshatriya mix. Fantastic. Now that I know it, I know I have the leadership skills as well as the money making skills that are required for me to be successful, and I've chosen a profession accordingly. How cool would it be if you knew that? And that's why Gurukuls were there, right? Now, coming back to being a CEO, you need to slowly but surely build that skill of identifying people based on their psychophysical nature. Now, you might be like, are you telling me to be racist or casteist? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is understand who are motivated by what. So let's change the names for a second. Brahmanas. Let's change that to intellectual class. People who are, scientists, who are scholarly, data scientists and whatnot, right? So these people, they're motivated by learning and growth, personal growth. You appreciate them, they're very happy. Then comes the Kshatriyas. Let's change the name to administrators or leaders. These are like project managers, CXOs, who are highly passionate, motivated. What do they find motivation? Achievements. When they see themselves better than others. When you can make them look you're better than others. That has a motivating factor for them. They always strive to be the best employee, the employee of the month, to get the best sales results, etc. So they're motivated by you're better than others. Then comes the Vaishyas, right? The money-minded folks. They're motivated by bonuses. They're motivated by money, basically. So the more money they get, the happier they are. This doesn't apply to the so-called the scientist intellectual class. If you give them more money, they'll look down upon you. Like, what do you think? It'll hurt the ego. But the money-minded guys, they're like, more bonus, I'll do more hours. I'll do more things. And then comes the Shudras, the people who are governed by fear, right? Now, again, this is not a casteist comment. There are people who are governed by fear. They work better when there's pressure, there's fear of getting fired. And trust me when I say it, coming from a digital business background, I was like, where are these people? But then I have a family business where we have factory workers and truck drivers and people I have to deal with who initially I was being, treating everybody equally. Coming from America, coming from a Vaishnav background with respect. And, then other directors heard, oh, this Mr. Roy, he's not going to be able to run the company. He's a complete loser. And then I started to be a little bit more harsh, pretending to be more, rigid. And they're like, now he has matured up. I'm like, wow. So they want me to shout and yell at them, which is not my nature. But there are people you will find who are motivated by fear and they need to be treated in a certain way. And I don't like to deal with people like that. So I always like high skill, high will, who I don't have to yell and shout. They will get their work done. They have their KPI, key performance indicators. If they don't get their work done in 2 months, they'll be fired. It's an automated system. That's how I work. But not everybody's like that. Not every business is like that. So know that the team dynamics works this way. Now, here's the industrial psychology version of it. I give you the Bhagavad Gita version of, who's motivated by what. Now, understand the industrial psychology part of it, where the team dynamics, there is an actual set rhythm. Right? Just like when you sleep, there's a rhythm. There is low sleep, deep sleep, etc. Similarly, in a team when you're a new company, new people come in, nobody knows what's happening. The co-founders also don't know much what's going on. So everybody's kind of scared. So at that time, it's called the forming stage, where people are like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Eventually they realize everybody's clueless. That's called the norming stage. Then people start understanding, okay, you know what? Everybody's clueless. Let me understand what I need to do. And they start getting started doing their job, slowly. Then comes people are stepping on each other's toes. This is my job, but somebody else is kind of stepping on my toes. That's called the storming phase, where people are fighting with each other. And this is where your role is crucial as a leader, as a CEO, where you motivate them based on their psychophysical nature. Remember, intellectuals, leaders, the Vaishyas, and the workers, right? So according to you motivate them to wherever they are. You help them figure out where their place is, give them ownership of their project, of their part of running the company, so that they are in their state where they know what they're doing and they own it, they own the responsibility, and they're accountable to you. If you can do this rightly, then comes the performing stage, right? Forming, storming, then performing, right? So initially, now this is a stage where you see everybody's at their peak performance, but this will not stay for too long. You will scale up, you will bring in more people, and then it will be again a cycle. Again, those new people will be like, I don't know what I'm doing, forming. Then they'll fight. The old guys will fight. Like, I am here earlier than you. You're a new guy. Why don't you listen to me? Why are you getting paid more? There's going to be storming. And then again, you as a leader will have to put them in their place, help them understand why somebody's getting paid more, even though they're new, their skill level, whatnot. Help, give transparency, and then again, you will go to performing stage. So if you can do these things right, of course, I'm giving a lot of information in a very short time. If you can do these things right, watch this over and over again, and you will be able to come to the performing stage where you win and your employees win and the company wins. Does it make sense, Utkarsh?
Yeah, so summing it up, first of all, getting the right idea, and by idea I mean the problem, connecting to the right set of problem and identifying my passion and other people around it. And then going on to basically finding out what kind of business I want to do, what kind of models I want to connect to, what is the right structure for me. And then connecting to the right T, which means the right team. And for team, we need to rely on various principles that you told me about, right? And we can either take inspiration from Bhagavad Gita, and we can also take inspiration from various industrial psychological analysis. And I have found that some industries do that. They do conduct some psychological analysis test before they hire someone. So I think that is a very valid practice. And getting the right idea, business, and the team. What's next?
So now that you have the proper problem, the solution, the founding team, and you're moving towards a certain goal of building a minimum viable product, it's important that you understand that you will need resource. And most people that reach out to me on social media about starting a startup tell me, sir, will you invest in my idea? I'm like, well, do something. If you want my investment, how do I know that my investment will grow? And people say, well, without money, how can I start my business? I need money to start. And that is a notion of the past. When you used to start companies that are in the factory, that yes, you need money to start a factory or something physical. But digitally speaking, you don't need that, right? But you do need resources. You need people to do this for you. And I'll tell you how I did it. I started at the age of 19 and I made $1 million business by 22. And along the way, I had the best possible team you can imagine. I had the former CTO, Chief Technology Officer of Motorola. I had the head of marketing for L'Oreal join me. I had head of innovations from Wrigley, which is another multi-billion-dollar company, join me. Now these guys are in their 40s and 50s and experts in their domains, and they have the Ferraris and the beach houses. And I was a student who had nothing. Of course, they joined on board, and together we built amazing businesses. But the point is, what I learned there, and I shared this in my first TED Talk, which is called The Currency of Relationship. So in this case, I was not able to pay them anything, right? The money I had was from winning competitions. We won $40,000 from winning around 15 business plan competitions in US and Canada. And that money was just going into building prototypes, testing, PCB printing, and all of that. We had a physical product. We were actually building, think about the Apple Watch in the form of a necklace 10 years before Apple Watch. And the team was working for free. In fact, when I was my final year, last month of graduation, my patent attorney said, Avelo, you need to file your patent or you will not get the patent because there's a timeline to it. And your 1 year is just about to end. I said, John, I don't have money. I don't have anything, and I have to give my final exams or else I won't graduate and my visa will get cancelled. So he said, Avelo, I'll take care of it. It cost $18,000, with legal fees and everything, to file for the patent that we did. And John Ambrogi, this wonderful lawyer, he paid for the whole thing himself, filed for it on time, and I was so grateful. And this was 2009. Economy was bad. And his partners at his law firm were laughing at him. It's like, are you crazy? Nobody's investing in startups, and you are investing in kids, like teenagers who are right out of college. You'll never see your money back. And he said, I trust this guy, and I think I will see a huge return on investment. And guess what? In a year, we got funded, and John got his money. And not just that, I didn't forget what John did for me. For the next whatever number of years, I've given John so many projects, so many clients. It's more than $100,000, worth of clients he's received for $18,000 of investment that he initially did in filing for my patent. Because out of gratitude, I wanted to always send him clients. So that's the beauty of currency relationship. Today, somebody does something for you. Tomorrow, somebody returns the favor. Right? And that's called the favor economics. Money has many names, understand that. Don't just go to investors begging for money because they'll shut the door on your face when you don't have anything. When you have an idea, build a team, build your friends, and let them work for equity. Let them, work in exchange for a vision, a goal, a possibility that might happen. When I got these amazing people to quit their jobs, they were getting paid close to $1 million. The people who joined my company, like I said, CTO of Motorola, and these guys get paid huge amounts of money. They left that. Why? Because I told them, look, you are a small piece of a big company. If you join me and together we can make this successful, you will have impact on the world, first of all. Secondly, you can make as much money as to the proportion of your work you do because you're part owner of the company, you're equity holder, and guess what? If nothing happens, you have a great story to tell. It's just going to cost you a year or two of your life, but you'll have a great experience. You'll learn so much, and you can go back to working in your big jobs. You're not losing anything, so might as well try it out. And based on that, we started together, we built together, we grew together, and still date in different parts of the world, but we are together and adding value in each other's lives. And that's how the currency of relationship works, right? If it costs you $18,000 to file for that patent, somebody is doing that for you for free. That's money right there, right? That's another way of somebody's giving you money. So don't think investment comes only in cash. Investment also comes in credit. Investment also comes in equity. Investment also comes in the form of favors. Investment also comes in the form of intellectual property, right? The reason why we were valued at $1 million is one of the things is our patent. It was so powerful, right? So the point is, money has many names. Lakshmi Devi has many names. So understand it and play not the straight line, but the growth hack mentality. Use the currency of relationship to get from point A to point B to point C to point D. You will not have the resources that you need, but you have to figure out who has the resources, how you can leverage them to come your way, to get sold on your idea and put forth the value. And today with our startup economy, with the push from the government, guess what? When you start, Amazon Web Services gives you, $5,000 worth of free hosting if you're with the incubator like Kolkata Ventures. IBM will give you free services worth thousands of dollars. If you, Paytm will pay you 1 lakh a month up to for their Paytm gateway fees. So you will have at least 40 to 50 lakhs in services from Microsoft, from Paytm, from Amazon, from IBM, from Google, you name it. There are people willing to help you start your startup. So there is no reason why you wouldn't look that as money, right? That's available to you for free, and the government pays you. The Atal incubation centers around the country, each one, if they select you, they can give you up to 10 lakhs, and if they tie up with the state government, they can give you 15 lakhs, right? I'm on the board of 3 Atal incubation centers. You can reach out to me if you need help. But the point is, there's free money available. So don't just go begging to investors when you have an idea. Investors invest in execution. When you have built from zero to something, then investors come in at that something and see the potential, and based on that, they invest. So you can make that something into something huge, right? From a spark to a blazing fire. That's where investors come in. So start with zero money, grow with customers' money, scale with investors' money. The scaling part I was telling you, tech enables scalable business. Investors invest in scalable businesses. A minimum return on investment for an angel investor is 2x to 3x. That means they want to triple their money. For a venture capitalist, it's minimum 20x. They won't even talk to you if you're not able to give them 20 times their money back in a matter of 3 to 5 years. What to speak of companies like Zomato, right? It's crazy amount of returns on investment. So the point is, understand this principle, and before you go to investors, actually figure out the free money that's available for you using the currency of relationships. And I'm always there. I'm the only person in this world with this name, Avelo Roy. So you can always reach out to me on Instagram or in LinkedIn. I'll be happy to connect you with the right resources or help you if I can help in my own capacity. Does it make sense, Karsh? You want to summarize?
Yeah. Yeah. So, getting all the things right, you need to build good relationships, so that you can encash that. And if you want to start a business, funds, matlab, whenever we thought of starting businesses, we think कि we need funds to do that. But I think you have clarified that कि you can start with right where you are, and you have lot of things, a lot of people ready to help you out, and even you, right? Kolkata Ventures is doing amazing. I have found a lot of startups who started from connecting to you, right? And you have helped them out in scaling their journeys. And there are a lot of other people who are ready to help you out, because as India as a nation, we are progressing forward, and everybody is contributing to this vision. And if you want to start out, I think the right time is now, because everybody is looking for us. So brilliant. Thank you, Avelo. And now I want to ask a major question. I think that is the most important question of this workshop, is that it might get overwhelming when we do a lot of things together. We have to identify the problem, we have to identify the right side of people, then build a team, and then build value structure into this team, and connect and bring everybody together on the same board. So it may be a lot of things. So how to balance our mind around that?
Sure. So one of the first things, so that's where, kind of spiritual aspect comes in, because the reason why these people like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg or Satya Nadella are corely spiritual people is because when you're a high performing individual, you cannot be living the common life and expect extraordinary outcome. And work-life balance is a huge part of it. How do you manage a massive company as well as be a father, a husband, a wife, a sister, or whatever, right? You have many roles you play. And being a Bhagavad Gita student, what I have seen work is really sense control. A lifestyle, a yogic lifestyle really helps with that. I personally meditate 2 hours a day, and one might think, whoa, that's a lot of time. But what it has done for me, it has opened up more time. I sleep 6 hours a day. So my lifestyle, I eat yoga-friendly food, sattvic food. So it's easy for my body to digest. I don't sleep as much. I don't need that much sleep. I live a stress-free life because meditation, 2 hours of meditation helps me focus. I'm very, very efficient. What somebody else will do in 8 hours, I can do that in 4 hours or even sometimes 2 hours. Why? Because 2 hours of meditation has over the last 15 years has helped me train my mind in such a way that it's kind of like, as kids we play with the magnifying glass, taking the sun's rays and focusing that on paper and burning it. Similarly, when you can focus the mind's energy and onto something that's very important, away from distraction, away from all the pings and pangs of WhatsApp and social media, when you want to focus, you can focus, right? You see the amazing superpower you have that others don't have. And that's focused mind is a direct outcome of meditation. The time you, the amount of sleep, the stress levels and all. And another thing is understand, Krishna says that nitya ahara viharascha, right? So you have to have a balance of ahara, vihara, and sleep. So your eating, your sleeping, and your entertainment has to be balanced. It is important to entertain. It is important to sleep. It is important to eat right. So when you have a high performing lifestyle, you need to make sure that you're doing all of that. You miss out on many people, my generation, brag about not sleeping. And it is harmful because I have seen many startups, many CEOs burning out. 3 days straight, they're working on their product, coding, hackathon, and then they burn out. And by the time they're 30, their memory is down, they look older, they're having diseases, right? Sleep is a hugely important aspect of life, and if you ignore that, you are screwing with your brain, which is probably one of the most important tools for your functioning. So it's important that we have a proper balance, right? Krishna is saying nitya ahara viharascha. So when you balance, for understand how Krishna or Bhagavad Gita describes time. So 24 hours in a day, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. That's called sandhi, right? So sandhya, as we say, you see in most Hindu families, people are worshipping in the evening, in the afternoon, in the morning. Why? Because these are sandhyas, these are transitions in the day. So first 8 hours is for sattvic stuff, your worship, your meditation, charity, etc. The next 8 hours is go, rajasic stuff. More a passion, you need to get things done, you're working. And the next 8 hours is tamasic, or rest, lazy. You entertain, you eat, you sleep, right? Chilled. And you see the sunlight is also that way. In the morning, it gives you certain amount of light, so you can do all your meditation and whatnot. It's chilled, it's calm. Throughout the day, you're working hard, you got everything. And at night, it's dark, it's time for you to rest. So if you can follow nature's law, and that's what the Bhagavad Gita talks about, right? You can work with the law rather than working against it, and thereby be more efficient with your knowledge, your lifestyle, and working with nature's principles. You will actually be far more productive than most of your peers.
That's a wonderful analogy, Avelo, and it's really hitting my mind, and it's telling me why I'm not balancing my life. And sometimes it happens we get so much passionate about something, we just misses out everything. And it's important to balance every aspect of our life, because as you told in the starting, we have to find ourselves first. We have to find the I, then we have to build the B, the business, and then we have to connect the T. So I think that is very important. We have to balance each and every aspect of that. Moving ahead, do you have any exercise for me so that I can train myself up and implement these steps that you have told me?
Absolutely. So I would like you, Utkarsh, now that you know the principles behind it, actually make it into action. And the first thing I would like you to do is identify a problem that you relate with, a problem that is dire enough that the market is willing to pay for. Things like privacy, for example. Is it a problem? Yes. But nobody's willing to pay for it. Elon Musk tweeted, people went on to Signal, but they came back to WhatsApp because they don't care. But there are certain things, and Bhagavad Gita, again, coming back to Vedic understanding, talks about birth, death, old age, disease. These are the biggest problems of life, right? So old age, dealing with senior citizens, they have all the money, they're not cared for a lot of times, health issues and all that. Huge market there, right? And we know health tech, how it's grown during the pandemic. People are making huge money in the health tech domain, edutech domain. So take a problem that is problematic enough that people are willing to pay for, right? And you send that to me over WhatsApp. I will tell you how much potential that is and how it aligns with you. And that's the next step, that whether this problem aligns with your skill and passion. So send me your top 2 things you're skilled better than your friends, and 2 things you're really passionate about. And you know why I'm asking you this. Passion, you identify the market. Skill, what kind of solution you can actually build to solve the problem of that market. The third thing is, I would like you to identify a market segment. Now, sometimes when I get startup pitches, people like to say anybody with a phone and internet is my market. Bad answer. You are not Geo. You're not Reliance with hundreds of crores at your disposal. You need to start with a narrow niche market. So if you're thinking, okay, people who have cars, right? I want to build a business for that. What kind of cars? This tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? Go narrow, go niche, and go deep. Really analyze it. So who is your market, and segment that market and give me a demographic. If you have run Facebook ads, you would know. There is male, female, the gender, the geographical location. Is it a city person or a tier 2, tier 3 village person, right? Is it a man or a woman? Is it a person who is spending money online or likes offline? So really understand who is your customer. What are they willing to pay for? What kind of problems they pay for, and target the market. The next thing I would like you to do, and the last thing, is come up with a solution that's a low-hanging fruit. Don't give me something that's a combination of AI and ML and jargons and things, because at an initial stage with limited resources, you will not be able to do it, and you will not be able to attract people who are sitting in Amazon and Microsoft who can do that for you. So think how quickly and simply you'll go from zero to revenue in 30 days or less. What is a simple solution, your minimum viable product, right? Ideate that, and together you and I will work through that and we'll make it happen. Okay? Makes sense?
Yeah, totally. So I think people who are seeing this workshop, you can also you can reach out to Avelo. You can Google Kolkata Ventures and you can just reach out to him. And also you can approach someone who is doing great in business, and you can talk about your plans like Avelo has told you, right? And you can explain them what is your market, what is your idea, what is your skills, and you can get some good feedbacks, because as humans we are good critics. So I think we all can do better if we all can support each other. Thank you, Avelo, for this wonderful and insightful workshop, and I hope that a lot of people will start out something which they are just waiting to start out, right?
Thank you so much, Karsh.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Have a good rest of your day.